Well, next, let's queer up courts. Supreme Court rejects Florida's request to reinstate drag ban. The Supreme Court is denying Florida's request to allow it to enforce a law making it a crime to allow children to attend a drag performance. Hamburger Mary's Orlando is challenging the ban, and a federal court put it on hold, saying the law is likely an unacceptable limit on free speech. Florida is appealing and asked to be able to enforce the law during the litigation process. 3 conservative justices joined the liberal bloc in declining to intervene. This means Florida businesses may continue to have public drag shows for now. Next, the case goes to a federal appeals court. After that, the Supreme Court could decide to hear the case. I just think this is another example of such a phenomenal loss for Ron DeSantis and such an amazing win for our community. I mean, it goes without saying, but drag is not a crime, and it is a freedom of speech issue. And the fact that we're able to express ourselves, the fact that we're able to show up and show out in our true and authentic selves is so spectacular and phenomenal. And I'm glad that it's still able to continue despite everything that we're seeing in our legislature.
Funny how he keeps getting slapped down and just won't stay down. Just stay down.
Oh, no. It's like, it keeps popping up. 3 conservatives dissenting. Sounds like a line from the song, The 12 Days of Christmas in Hell. Protection of Children Act. My ass. You know who needs to be protected from? Children need to be protected from? Stupid parents. Not politicians. Stupid parents. Or not protected from drag queens, but from stupid parents.
Yeah, this is also bad for them as well. In other cases, they might be arguing when they're arguing parents should have the right to make decisions for their children. And then in this particular legislation, they're taking away that right. That's creating a really bad precedent for them when they get to argue in front of the Supreme Court in the next session.
Right.
I mean, I think we can all agree that it's not about the safety of the children at this point anymore. Because if it was really about safety of the children, you would ban guns, you would have more control on gun violence, you would have, you would stop the child trafficking and or like all the higher things that are endangerment to children. And what's actually concerning is that, me not coming from America, I've heard a lot about this situation because I'm very into politics, especially here in America, maybe even more than in my home country. Shameful. But what is most scary is that it is flowing over into my country. It's flowing over. It's flying over to different continents because not quite long ago, there were troubles in the Netherlands when it came to drag shows. There were protesters who said, "Save the kids," and I thought, am I in America or where am I? It is flying over to different continents, and the conservative mindset of a person like Ron DeSantis is literally affecting other people in different continents, which is quite scary. And for me, it was a good thing to realize that, there's a lot of work to be done, like a lot of work to be done. And if we really want to save the children, then I genuinely think that we need to look at the highest points of how we can save the children. And I have never heard of a drag queen attacking a child. I don't know if any of you have.
There's a lot of priests, though. There's a lot of priests attacking children.
Exactly. Yes. But
I think you bring up a really good point. I was just responded to like a TikTok comment actually earlier this morning. Someone saying, why don't you just boycott Florida and get out? And I said, well, we're on the front lines, and we can't just expect to be able to go to a blue state or go to a more affirming country and be good to go, because Florida historically is the hotbed of a lot of good and a lot of bad, right? We're at the forefront of LGBT rights, and then also at the forefront of attacks against LGBT rights, and those things spread, right? Other states, other countries watch what we do and act accordingly. If they see that this is a winning issue, this is something that is going to drive people like us out, they're going to go ahead and do the same thing, and then those front lines are just going to wind up on our doorstep wherever we wind up fleeing to. I will not become a refugee in my own state, and this is an example of the fact that we can and will win in the state of Florida. Also, I think another really great point. This is not protect the children, right? There's a phenomenal series on TikTok by Kristen Brody, who's also the vice president of the LGBT Democratic Caucus here in Florida, where she goes through all of the people making news news for sex crimes against children, and she has a whole website for it. I think it's who's making news for sexcrimes.com or something like that. I don't actually remember off the top of my head. And there has not been of thousands of cases in the months that she's been tracking it. There has not been a single drag queen, and trans people are also extremely underrepresented in that data set as well. So it just goes to show that that's all pointless fear-mongering that isn't based in reality.
You know, to your point, hate is currently America's #1 export, but it doesn't have to be. And to your point, we are on the front lines, and you and I have talked about this before, off camera, and we didn't choose to be on the front lines, but we're here. And you've got a lot of mad people, and you've got a lot of angry people. A couple nights ago, I was at, and we're going to talk more about this in a story coming up, because you were there with me at Trans Day of Remembrance, and the last speaker, and arguably was the most powerful, and she was angry, and she was mad, and I sat there and agreed with every single word she said. And we need to get mad. We can have joy and be furious simultaneously. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but we will win the fight. And hopefully in 2024, we won't win the fight next year. The fight is going to be decades long, but perhaps next year we can staunch the bleeding, because until then we can't move forward. But we're angry and we're not going away.
And we vote.
For sure.
I hope. Sorry. I just had to say that, because the way it's looking, people are not voting the way they should. And if we really want to make sure that we stop the bleeding in 2024, we need to make sure that we're going after those younger voters. That, you know, I see stuff on social media nowadays, people attacking younger voters. It's just not a good recipe for 2024, but it is going to be a decades-long fight. And sadly, the one thing the right wing has that we don't have is they have these, and that's why they're exporting stuff overseas. They have these think tanks, these right-wing organizations with billions of dollars funded by the Koch brothers and other billionaire right-wingers who are trying to spread their agenda all across the world with this conservative bloc where they want to rewrite laws and constitutions. They're going to try to do that here for sure with a constitutional convention. And just all you have to do really is just you go online and you go to these websites and read what they're saying. Like you can read what Trump is trying to do in his supposed comeback.
Mike Johnson,
and you just read what they're saying. They're saying it. They're not even hiding it no more. They used to hide it. Now they're just saying it out loud. We are trying to rewrite the Constitution. We don't want any trans existence. Like, they're saying it out loud, and people should be paying attention.